Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, dear friends. Thank you very much for joining us today to our webinar about Cyprus. And I'm very happy to welcome you and to have a chance to share with you my love and my appreciation to our beautiful island. My name is Anastasia Yianni, and I'm the CEO of Cyprus Sotheby's International Realty. And today we will try to be quite precise with your time. So we will finish everything within 1 hour. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the comment in the chat section. And I will definitely leave enough time to be able to answer as many questions as possible. But first of all, let's start with welcoming you, and please put plus if you can hear me well. So I hope that everything is working and that you can hear me and you can see me very well. Thank you very much. Today we will talk about 7 reasons to relocate to Cyprus. I believe that most of you are not in Cyprus as yet, and if you're joining our webinar, it means that you are considering Cyprus as your possible place for your next step, for the possible place for relocation. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Anastasia Yianni, and I'm the CEO and partner of Cyprus Sotheby's International Realty. More than 20 years ago, I made this decision myself and I relocated to Cyprus. So today I will be speaking not only from my professional experience, but also from my personal experience. I will share with you my thoughts, my ideas, what I like about Cyprus, but of course, it will be very professional approach as well, because I've been working in Cyprus real estate market for more than 20 years. So I can share both professional view and professional expertise, but also like what is important for you and your family if you decide to come to Cyprus. So today we will discuss with you the following questions. Is Cyprus the best place for you and your family? What are the reasons to consider, or what are the reasons to relocate to Cyprus right now? We will touch base about residence permit, the timeline procedure, and actually lots of you already left your questions while registering to the webinar, and there were many questions about getting residence permit. We'll talk about property purchase process, and also how to choose your agent and why do you need one. We put today the paragraph about business relocation opportunities, but now actually I believe that I will just say a little bit about it. And if business relocation is part of your agenda, then you can also put the message in the chat, and we will do a separate thing about business relocation, because it's completely different topic and quite a big subject. So let's start with the first things. How and why would you consider Cyprus? So if you dream of a country with mild climate and no pollution, if you're worried about your family in the current situation, not only pandemic, but general situation in the world, if you're thinking about your children's future and their education, or maybe now you're listening not from European country and you would like to live in Europe. Maybe you're just like really tired of everything and you want to have a more relaxed lifestyle, or maybe it's business that you're thinking about it. Maybe it's investment. Maybe you want to diversify your asset to secure the return on investment. Maybe you're planning to expand your business to Europe and you're thinking about business relocation. Maybe you're worried about the safety of your business in your own country, or maybe just like we are considering that you pay too much in taxes, so maybe the taxes are on your agenda. If you answered yes to any of the questions before, then it's very possible that Cyprus can be a solution, that maybe Cyprus could be considered. Cyprus offers an excellent opportunities, and now let's see why. So when we see what are the 7 reasons to relocate, and actually in the end I will share with you my personal likes about Cyprus, even though it's not about relocation, but what I still treasure and what I enjoy. But if we go quite formal, so the first reason that Cyprus has a friendly multicultural environment. This is extremely important if you are planning to relocate, because it's one thing that if you're just coming for holidays, but it's completely different matter if you move and spend longer time. Then it becomes extremely important how you can settle in. Do you integrate in the society? Do you feel comfortable? Does your family feel comfortable? Do your children feel comfortable and can settle in quickly? And indeed, Cyprus has very multicultural environment, and everyone is welcome. When you move to Cyprus, and again, being a foreigner myself, I can confirm from my personal experience, you never feel a foreigner, you never feel unwelcome. The second reason is that in the last 10 years, Cyprus indeed made a huge leap forward in developing the island's infrastructure. So if you're moving and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm moving to the island, are there hospitals, are there schools, is there proper infrastructure? Will I be comfortable? Will I have all the services that I'm used to? In Cyprus, you can find everything, and the quality and standards are very high. So the whole infrastructure is fully compliant with European standards of safety and comfort. So you will have everything that you're used to, just in a much better climate. Cyprus is an amazing place to raise and educate your children. Again, if you have a family, if you have children, then I'm sure that their well-being and their comfort is very important for you. So you can easily enroll your child in school or kindergarten, and there is a wide choice of public and private schools in Cyprus. We will talk about it a little bit later, but it is important. Let's say if you're moving, let's say, for example, if you are considering also moving to Spain, maybe it would be more difficult for your child to settle there compared to Cyprus because of so many nationalities permanently living here and speaking the language. Let's move forward. What is the other reason? Cyprus has some of the lowest taxes in the world for residents and businesses. And of course, we all know that you need to pay taxes. And we are not talking about Cyprus being offshore jurisdiction. It's fully onshore, clean jurisdiction, but the taxes are much lower. So in a way, you can get better lifestyle by spending less money. And in fact, we've seen for many, many years, lots of people from the more northern countries, that they were spending autumn, winter, and early spring months in Cyprus because of the weather, but also they were getting huge tax savings by spending time in Cyprus. Cypriot authorities' prudent investment policies have made Cyprus an internationally renowned financial safe haven. Here, I would want to say that, very often the word safe haven again means that it's something is let's call it something is offshore. No, it is fully onshore. And in Cyprus, you have highly qualified workforce where you can employ almost every expertise at much less cost than compared to many European destinations. And that's why there are so many companies that are moving headquarters to Cyprus. Let's move further. Let's say there are many countries that have good infrastructure, they have good schools, but is it easy to move here? Do you have little background? Do you have little framework how you can live legally in the country? And with Cyprus, it's all very clear. When you move to Cyprus, you have several options which residency program to choose. And if we're talking, and in this webinar, I will cover in detail Cyprus permanent residency by investment, where the program is very clean, it's very fast and straightforward, and everything can be done online. But again, we will cover a little bit more later. And Cyprus has very clear and simple laws for foreigners to buy or rent property. So these are the 7 more formal reasons. But now I really want to go in more details in things that matter if you're talking about lifestyle. And of course, the first thing is that in Cyprus, we have 340 sunny days per year. I'm not sure from which country you're watching our webinar, but imagine today it's sunny. My computer shows that it's 22 degrees Celsius outside. The air is amazingly clean. So just the fact that you will be waking up to the sunny day, I'm sure that just this fact alone definitely puts a smile on your face, and it ticks the box for an excellent well-being. Cyprus doesn't have any big industry, so we have excellent environment. It's here we have the cleanest beaches in Europe, and also one of the best quality of air and water. So just from the ecological perspective, from the environmental perspective, you have again something that ticks a box for well-being. As I mentioned earlier, Cyprus is very multicultural. And of course, why it became multicultural? Because the local Cypriot people, they are very hospitable. Hospitality runs in their blood, and they would smile and welcome you, not just tourists, but as permanent residents here as well. Cyprus has excellent healthcare, and in the wake of pandemic that we lived through, this becomes a very important matter. And in Cyprus, you have a huge choice of hospitals. But again, I will, because it's so important, I will cover it a little bit more. Many people worry, but Cyprus is an island. Will I be feeling stranded there? No, Cyprus has excellent global connections, so you can travel any directions you want. And there are 2 airports, so it is quite easy. Cyprus has British law-based legal system. Again, what does it mean? It means that it's more transparent, that you will understand many more legal issues compared to many other countries. And when I mentioned English language widely spoken, it's also used everywhere in everyday life, but also in business. Let's say we are dealing with properties. All sales agreement, if they are with foreigners, it would be done in their language and in English. So everything is transparent. You really feel comfortable. You understand what are you doing. Cyprus has modern bank and legal systems. And even though the banking system is very strict, And you will see later on, I will talk a bit about it, that Cyprus banking system is very strict, but it's very modern. So again, you are not in the country where you have no clue what is happening. Education, extremely valuable point. What also matters a lot is that Cyprus is very safe country. It is considered one of the safest small countries in the world, and in general one of the safest countries in Europe and in the world. Even though it's such a small island, you have rich historical heritage, and you can explore and you can see different phases and different monuments, museums. There are lots of performance happening, theater performance, etc., etc. So you do have lots of lifestyle opportunities. And if we're talking about moving, of course, we're all moving with an idea to get a better lifestyle. And as I mentioned during the previous slide, I think Cyprus ticks lots and lots of boxes. Let's move to tax advantages. Okay, I'm not a tax advisor. That's why we're not going to discuss detailed tax advantages. But here, just from the visual point of view, I'm sure that you would agree that if you see lots of zeros on the slide about taxes, this is a good thing. And in Cyprus, you have an amazing system for non-domiciles. Non-domiciles, to put it in simple terms, it just means that you're not Cypriot, you were not born in Cyprus, and you were not paying taxes for the last years in Cyprus. In this case, if you choose Cyprus as your tax residency, and to become tax resident, in Cyprus we have two systems, either the simple 183 days or the shorter version with 60 days. Again, let's not go into details. The most important point is that if you become non-domicile tax resident in Cyprus, then for the next 17 years, you will be paying 0% tax on your passive income. And we can see that this program is extremely attractive, and many people, as soon as they find out the details, and we will be happy to arrange tax consultation for you with some of the best experts in the island, when they find out that they can make such amazing savings, lots and lots of people choose Cyprus for the tax residency. We have 0% property tax, 0% inheritance tax. Pension tax is very low, just at 5%, and corporate tax currently is at 12.5%. If you have IT company, then there is a possibility to reduce it even further. So as you can see, again, there are many tax advantages that Cyprus can offer. I promised that I will talk a bit more about healthcare. Again, to be completely honest, before COVID, we were not covering healthcare in such details because it was important, but maybe not that important. So in Cyprus, you have an enormous number of English-speaking professionals, and not only English. There are many professionals speaking different languages as well. Most of them were trained in EU, UK, South Africa, or America, and the standard is very high. Just to give you an interesting number, in Cyprus, there is only 245 people per doctor. I know that in many countries, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. As a foreigner, you have a possibility to choose private hospitals, or if you get permanent residency, or if you are European citizen moving to Cyprus, then you will be able to get access to National Health Insurance Scheme. In Greek, it's called GESI. GESI, and the scheme is quite new, but already we can see that it's wonderful. What does it allow you? So if you have access to the National Health Insurance Scheme, then you would have a family doctor, your personal general practitioner, who would be referring you to experts, to professional or to specialist doctors. And for every visit, you would only pay €6 compared to the normal price 30 to 50 euros if you are going to private hospitals. Very reasonable tests and operation, huge discounts or free medicines, and you can use this, you can have access either to public or private clinics. And I think that the most important thing is also the speed. Like I can tell you from the personal experience, when I was in the UK and I needed to see the doctor urgently, it was very difficult, and I had to wait quite a long time. In Cyprus, even if it's not an emergency, the doctor will see you much faster. And as as a result, in Cyprus, the life expectancy is quite long. And how there is a joke in Cyprus that the man would live until 82 and the women never die. I will not comment on that proverb, but I always find it quite funny. And the Cypriot healthcare is ranked 26th in the world. For a small island, I think it's a very high ranking. So now let's move to education. I think that for all parents, education of their children is a very important point to consider if you are thinking about relocation. And again, I have two boys, so I know about Cypriot schools. Of course, I don't have personal experience with public Greek schools. My children go to English school, so again, I can answer any questions about school because I'm very active mother. So you have choice. You can opt for free education in Cyprus public schools, which is open for all. There is no restriction by nationality, and it's free of charge. The teaching is in Greek, and it follows Greek curriculum. You also have a choice to go to private schools, where most of them they would forward English curriculum, and the study will be in English. Compared to many European countries, the fees are I would say the fees are affordable. If we're talking about primary school, then we would be looking between 3,000 and 6,000 per year. If we're looking about at middle school, then it would be between 5,000 and 10,000 per year. There are colleges and universities. Actually, Cyprus government put it as a task to become the educational center in the Mediterranean, and now almost every city would have really good quality colleges and universities. What about after school activities? You have a choice. Sports, dance, art schools. In general, Cyprus, I think that you would appreciate when you come, Cyprus has child-friendly environment. Regardless whether it's your child or somebody else's child, the general atmosphere is very friendly. And what I like now, that when we talk about education, we are not only talking about kids and teenagers. Actually, every age can become a student, and there are lots of third age hobby groups and activities. Whether I will leave the slide here because I think that the best thing is that now we are end of October. and in the morning it was 28 degrees in Paphos, now it's 22. But we will share with you our webinar so you can check the weather in winter. In winter, it would be maybe 16, 17 degrees if you are by the sea. And in the mountains, you will be able to ski, which again is amazing thing. How about other running costs? And I can see an interesting question from Mr. Stoyan. How is public transport in Cyprus? I can say that public transport in Cyprus is getting better. When I just came to Cyprus, it was really only existing in the tourist routes. Now, even if you're living in the villages or in the suburb, there is regular transportation, and it becomes easier and easier to follow it. And you have a choice, either pay per trip or you can have a monthly ticket. And here on this slide, you can even see how much it costs. Let's say the single trip will cost you €1.50, or you can get a public, you can get monthly ticket. This price is for adult. For children and for school children is much less. I think that my son is paying something like €10 per month, and now he is traveling everywhere by bus. But if we are talking about other running costs, because again, it's wonderful to talk about sun, it's wonderful to talk about clean air, but how much will it cost? Of course, here we can only give a general estimation, because some people would be spending a little, some people would be spending a lot. So just to give you an idea that, let's say if we're talking about utility bills, then we can consider electricity and water. It would be doable to pay this amount. But of course, there are people whose bills are much less or much more. There are lots of providers for internet, and let's say roughly we can look at €25, but again, there are lots of packages. Petrol per liter, we all see that petrol now is jumping up and down, and we can now it's about 150. Okay. When we're talking in general about insurance, again, it depends on the vehicle. Here, it would be yearly. It will not be monthly insurance, but it would be for a small car. And again, we can check for you depending on your appetite for the cars. Restaurant meal. Again, we have so many choices. And in fact, I wanted to leave it later, but I will say it now. Food in Cyprus is amazing. And it's definitely on the list of my personal favorite, what I love about Cyprus. And of course, it's the quality and variety of food in restaurants as well. But you can have a very decent meal from 10, 13 euros per person. So you can see that running cost, you cannot say that Cyprus is the cheapest country in the world, but by no means it is very expensive. So now let's move to the point about staying in Cyprus. How can you stay legally in Cyprus if after our webinar, or maybe not after our webinar, but in general you decide that Cyprus sounds fantastic, I want to live here, I want to move there. So let's talk about permanent residency. First of all, I have to mention that, of course, here we need to do to put the first division, and I will cover it as well. So this system, this program works if you are non-European. Okay, so if you are not living in the EU, then this slide would be of interest. And there are other types of residency as well, which I'm not covering in this presentation. But if you want to find out a little bit more, please leave your question and I will try to answer now or send to you separate information on request. So let's talk about the fastest option that we have. If you are not from the European Union and if you want to live in Cyprus more than few months that you're allowed by visa, then you can get permanent residency by investment. Cyprus is the only EU country that offers lifelong permanent residency. Many countries now have similar programs and they have many names. I'm sure that you heard about golden visa or temporary residence, and we have Spain, Portugal, Greece. But all of them, they are offering temporary permit that have to be renewed. With this program, official name is category 6.2. With this program, you are getting the permanent residency for life. You do not need to renew. The investment threshold is quite low compared to other countries. There is no need for renewal. And what I love most, and I think today we have very family conversation. I'm talking a lot about hospitals, about schools. So if you're thinking about family, then Cyprus program covers 3 generations. That with one investment, investor, spouse of investors, parents of both investor and the spouse of investor, and children, dependent children up to the age of 25, they will get this status, which again is amazing. One investment, 3 generations can get this status for life. There are no language exams, no medical tests, and no interview. If you do not want to live here, but you want to have these, many countries do it for Plan B, just in case they need to have permanent residency, then there is no need to live here to keep the status, but you will need to visit for 1 day, at least for 1 day every 2 years. There are no direct tax consequences, but of course, many people want tax consequences and they actually choose to become Cyprus tax residents to enjoy the taxes. And application, the period from start to finish used to be quite short. In the previous years, it was just between 2 and 4 months. Now, because the program is very much in demand, we can see in practice that the period is a bit longer, and we would talk about 4, 5, 6 months. I mentioned that the investment threshold is not very high, but what it is. With this program, you will need to invest at least 300,000 euros. And if we are investing in a housing unit, meaning in residential property, then there will be VAT. So you can choose 4 types of investment, and most people, because they want to live in Cyprus, and this is the reason why they do this permanent residency, they choose to go with the first route, which is investment in residential property. Okay, there it has to be the first purchase, meaning that it has to be new property from developer, and you can buy 1 or 2 units. You can also invest in different type of real estate, maybe a small shop or an office. You can also invest in share capital of a separate company or in the units of Cyprus investment funds. If you choose the investment in commercial, share capital, or units of Cyprus investment fund, you will also need to show the rental agreement, or you need to confirm and always have your place of residence. So either bought or rented. And as I mentioned earlier, majority of people would go with a permanent residency via purchase of residential unit. Now, let's move to the residency requirement for European citizen. Because if you are European citizen, then you do not need to have a special permission. Being part of European Union, you already have access to all the countries who are members of the bloc. You have four main freedoms, and one of them is freedom to move and also freedom to resign. But you will need to register with the local immigration department, and there is a timeline. You need to do it within 4 months of entering the Republic, and you will get your permit, which is called yellow slip. If you get, or when you get your yellow slip, you will automatically get the right to legally work and live in Cyprus, and you have to be physically present. Then immediately you can register with Yianni. What is very important that I didn't mention, that if you are non-European and you are getting the permanent residency via investment with 300,000 euros, then you are also eligible to have access to the National Healthcare Scheme to Yianni. The permanent residency in Cyprus will not give you automatic right for employment, but you can have your own company and you can have your own business. So I can see the questions about the residency. Dependent children up to 25 years means including 25-year-old child or 24 years. I believe that it cannot be full 25, it's before 25-year-old. And when we talk dependent, it means that the child should be a student, and the child cannot have his or her own family. Again, I will double check to be 100% sure. There is also a question about the difference between the Greek and the Turkish parts. I have to mention that everything, all information that I share today, it only refers to the southern part, which is southern Cyprus, and unfortunately, Cyprus is one of the few, maybe the only divided country where we have the southern side and the northern side. The whole island hopes for reunification, but at the moment, the southern Cyprus is part of the European Union. The Turkey, we call it, yes, you're completely right. In practice, people call it Greek side and Turkish side, even though it's not a correct name. But the difference is that southern side part is part of the EU. The northern side, unfortunately, if you look technically, then it's not a recognized officially state. Okay, let's see. Yes, I totally agree that it's always a choice what you want. Okay. Karen, we are talking to the source of funds, but it's a very important point that if you are not from the European Union, then to be part of the permanent residency by investment, your funds have to come from abroad, from your personal account. And for any transactions, if you're buying property, no matter European, non-European, no matter what country you're sending money from, all banks will require source of funds information. Okay, very good question. So when we're talking about VAT rate, at the moment, the VAT in Cyprus on property is 19%. But at the same time, at the moment, we have a possibility to get reduced VAT of only 5% if this is your first purchase and if you're going to use this property for your personal residence, meaning that you do not intend to rent it out. So this is your property. So if you are thinking to buy something now and you're planning to use it for your personal use, then count 5% VAT. But if it's for renting out or it's not your first property, then VAT will be 19%. Why I keep mentioning now? Because now there is it's not even discussion, but the parliament is considering change of the VAT law under the pressure from European Union. There is a very high possibility, and I can even say very, very high possibility that this system will change and they will introduce either stricter criteria for the sizes of the property or or maybe together both criteria, the price message. Okay, so let's see the new question. Okay, so let's move on. And marketing girls, please save all the questions because I can see that we need to find out some information and clarify. And guys, thank you so much for being active and sending your question. So let's move on. So now we established with you why Cyprus can be of interest, what wonderful opportunities it can offer, that you have schools, hospitals, you can get permanent residency. So now let's move that you like it and you started thinking about buying property in Cyprus. We already know, remember, that all the documents will be done in English, so it is quite transparent. But you are moving to a new country. What points you need to consider? And I am of a very strong opinion that even if you are buying property for yourself, it is an investment. And especially now in the world of such high volatility, when we do not know what is happening with all the financial markets, investment in property becomes one of the best way to save your money against inflation and against possible changes. So even if you're buying for yourself, let's consider it as investment, and you want to understand what makes the property more desirable, why some property are more expensive than the others, and if you decide that, let's say in the future, I want to sell it, what would be the factors that will make your property sell faster? And I will skip the introduction and I will go straight to Cyprus. So let's see, if we are looking in Cyprus, then the first thing that will matter, it will be the location of the property. It would be the city. And by the way, if you are interested, we will send now in the chat the link to our webinar where we covered different areas of Cyprus. We discussed with our salespeople the difference between Limassol, Paphos, Nicosia, Larnaca. And if you check our YouTube page, you will find lots of recordings dedicated to specific topics. Okay, so Limassol would be the most expensive city. So if we think that, okay, let's take 2-bedroom apartment. If we take this 2-bedroom apartment, if we put it in Limassol, it would be most expensive overall price. If we put the same apartment in Ioannapa Protaras area, it would be the lowest price. Okay, why? Because Limassol and Paphos are in most demand and they are most popular areas. Of course, there is a reason why, but I will not be talking about it. Another point that will matter is where it is located within this city, within the district. So everything in Cyprus, if you go within walking distance, then it will be amazing. And guys, I want to stress one more thing. These are just some points to consider. Of course, if you're looking for yourself, then you should go with your heart. And you should go with your heart. And we always spend much more time when we are choosing property for permanent residency. We would take you around many places so you can feel the place, you can understand what are the views, etc., etc. So this is more general recommendations, what to pay attention, how you can increase the price and the speed if you want to sell it in the future. So walking distance is amazing. Distance to the sea again is a very important point, and if you're looking for the seafront property or the frontline property, it will always be more expensive and it will have the premium. There are more apartments sold than houses. New houses would have higher price because the construction style is completely different and the quality of construction increased and improved dramatically in Cyprus in the last few years. So there are a lot of properties that are resale and that are much cheaper, but the quality of construction is so low that people would still go for a newer construction because they have better insulation. The house is warmer in the winter and cooler in summer. You have underfloor heating, energy saving technologies. In-house amenities are important. Now more and more small and big developers, they do more, how can I put it, lots of facilities or in-house amenities. You would have a pool. Like when I just started working in Cyprus real estate, the standard construction for apartments would be a block of flat and a swimming pool, and that would be it. Now you would have a pool, you will have kids playground, you will have gym. In many places you will have security. And again, with the lockdown, these products help to keep the well-being of the people so much because they still had access to the playgrounds even being in the lockdown. Property and communal areas maintenance, extremely important factor, especially if you are buying apartments. And of course, legal matters, which is permits, compliance, developers' reputations, and other things. For types of properties, I will just skip because I will go quite fast because again, we will send it to you if you want to see the presentation. But just to understand that if we're talking about standard apartment, then one bedroom would be about 50, 60 square meters internal plus veranda. If we're talking two bedroom, we're talking about 80 square meters plus veranda. If we're talking about three bedroom, it would be, let's say, 110 meters plus veranda and going up. So this is just for you as a guidance, what to expect when you see, let's say, in advertising, one bedroom apartment, what to expect. Townhouses would be, this is the wrong slide. Townhouses will be two houses or more together, and normally it would be on two levels. If we're looking at detached houses, which would always be called villa in Cyprus, it would be in many cases a freestanding residential unit, 2 or 3 or 4 bedroom. Normally, they would be part of the development with a small private plot, and if area permits, with a small private pool, barbecue area, and of course, you can also go for your personal residence. Residence again, villa when you are getting bigger size plot, and you can build or buy much bigger size, better size houses. Let's go again only as an example what you can buy for your money. If you visit our website, you will see a lot of opportunities. And we also have many opportunities that we do not feature on the website, but that we can cover with you during private consultations. And to all of you, we offer this chance to have a private consultation with a free consultation with our expert, and you can book it right now if you click the red button on top of the screen. So let's say in Larnaca, you can get a 2-bedroom apartment for about 200,000 plus VAT. You can get apartments in Paphos, 2-bedroom from 265,000, 91 square meters, very nicely finished with beautiful quality of finishes. In Limassol, for these prices, we will be looking at 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, for 2-bedroom, it will be for about 550 and more. And if we are moving into detached houses, smaller types, we are looking budget 340 and up. And of course, we have luxury style as well, where we have beautiful golf courses. And again, like I like the comment above that there are many options and it is your personal preference what to choose. Buying process, the first thing we would always advise to go through your personal checklist. Why do I want to buy in Cyprus? What areas of Cyprus is best for me? How much am I willing to invest? What is the property type? And of course, I like this part, additional big and small requirements. And I personally always like to do the things, everything, put my whole wish list, and then we can work it, we can talk about it in more details. And the process itself is quite simple. To be completely honest, I would say that the first part is more difficult when you are trying to understand what is it that you want. Then we would always advise to engage real estate advisor of your choice, and together we will prepare for your trip, which is viewing itinerary, documents for the bank, source of funds information, PR application documents if applicable. Book your trip to Cyprus, or now we're doing many online viewings, especially if it is investment purchase or the purchase for the permanent residency. View selected properties and choose the right one. We would advise you to engage a local registered solicitor. The formal procedure would be to pay the small reservation deposit to withdraw the property from the market and fix the price. And in Cyprus, we do not have such system. I know that in many countries, I think especially in England, it's possible that even if you reserve, if someone offers more money, you will lose the property. In Cyprus, it's not like this. If the property is reserved, it's reserved for you. And then sign the sale agreement and deposit it in the land registry. Complete the purchasing process and come to the nicest part, which is enjoying your new home. How to choose the right agency and why do you need us? This is a very interesting subject, but I will try to be very quick because the main question is, can you buy the property in Cyprus without a real estate agent? And the simple answer is yes. But of course, this is if you know Cyprus very well, if you have lots of time, if you have enough time and persistence to study everything, to weigh all the options, to understand, is it good price, is it bad price, is it good developer, is it bad developer. So in a way, what the professional agent would offer you, the first thing is of course time efficiency. And we know that time is extremely valuable and it is the most important thing that we have. So saving your time, local knowledge, and engaging the real estate will actually not only save your time, but it can also save you money because you have access to all the local knowledge, expertise, regional peculiarities, amenities, knowledge of the real estate market, legal question, access to the property database. So, of course, these are the questions that you need to answer. But because, especially in Cyprus, the agency fees are always paid by the seller. In Cyprus, the buyers do not pay commission to the real estate agent, so it's always the sellers. So the important thing to consider whether the agent of your choice has field experience, meaning like, do they know, do they have experience, how long they're working, do they have support. In Cyprus, the real estate work is licensed, so it's extremely important to check if you're dealing with a licensed company. Connection with the country is the person who is advising you is in Cyprus and know what they're talking about, the range of services, quality of services, and of course, integrity of the agents. So if you decide to work with us, then our process is as follows. First thing, we would advise to have a personal online or offline consultation with our property expert, where we would discuss your goals, if Cyprus is suitable for you, what are the specifics, and what are the things to bear in mind. We will help you to prepare for the trip, prepare the long and short itinerary for the viewing when you're here in Cyprus, and will guide and assist you through the whole process. And what is also very important, as I mentioned before, we always look at the property as investment. So if at one point you decide that you want to sell the property, we will be very happy to sell it and market it for you. And this is our team. Not everyone is on this picture, but you see that we have lots of experienced professionals. We speak 8 languages, and we always go with our main values, which is knowledge, efficiency, ethics, and style. We are part of the Sotheby's International Realty family or network, which has offices in 81 countries. So again, when we're talking about comparison of Cyprus to different countries, we speak from experience. As I mentioned, we are fully licensed. We're multilingual, full in-house marketing, and again, we always look long-term. So on this note, I would invite you to book your online or offline consultation with our experts, and we will be happy to assist you. And now I've finished my presentation, and let's go to the questions if there are still any questions that I didn't answer. So the questions, if RICS recognized in Cyprus, yes. Cyprus has RICS Cyprus as well, but this is an organization for valuers and quantity surveyors. It's not for the real estate agents. But yes, RICS is, or RICS, is recognized in Cyprus. So let me go up and see if I missed any questions. Very good questions regarding VAT. Not all property purchases are subject to VAT. VAT in Cyprus is only paid once when you buy when the property is sold first time from developer. When the property enters resale market, there is no VAT again, but of course the seller would always include the VAT paid within the price. Also important to mention that if you bought property with VAT, then your transfer fees when title deeds are issued will be 0. And if you buy resale property, then there will be transfer fees. The percentage is between 1.5% and 4%, just to give you an easy way of calculation. International high schools, yes. every city would have international schools, and they would be from reception or even from kindergarten to year 13. Okay, so I don't see any questions. Of course, if you didn't have a chance to send your questions, you can always contact us after, and we will be contacting you as well to get your feedback or maybe to answer your questions. So, by all means, we will be extremely happy. And then on this note, I would say thank you once again for your time, for your active participation. I really enjoyed today's webinar because there was lots of action, lots of questions, and it was great interaction. I want to invite you to Cyprus, and when you are in Cyprus, you're always welcome to visit our office either in Paphos or in Limassol, and we'll be happy to share with you our knowledge, expertise, and our love to our beautiful islands. So, thank you very much. Take care and hope to see you in Cyprus very soon. Thank you.